No way we're welcoming a high school dropout. I hear a mocking voice on the other end of the phone. I was told there would be a welcome party for me, a mid-career hire, at a specified venue. But when I arrived, no one was there. When I answered the suspicious call that came in, I heard the voice of my boss, Susan, mocking me. "Where is everyone?" "We're at the Star Hotel. It's super high class. If someone like you showed up, it would ruin the hotel's reputation. So don't bother coming." I see and said nothing. In that case, they will self-destruct on their own. Sure enough, 2 hours later, a frantic call came from Susan. "Get to the Star Hotel right now." I heard a man's voice in the background as the desperate Susan pleaded over the phone. "If he's not here, it's $10,000 per person." "What? It's a total of $100,000. Susan's voice was filled with despair. "It sounds like you're busy with something, so I'll hang up now." I quietly hung up the phone. Then, I reflected on the fate of those who look down on others and act cowardly. My name is Thomas Wilson. I'm a 41-year-old working at Anchor Corporation, a mid-sized trading company. Anchor Corporation has its headquarters and 3 branches, and I'm assigned to the 3rd branch. I actually joined this company just 3 months ago. I was relieved when my training period ended, and I was finally hired as a full-time employee. I have a wife and an elementary school-aged son who were very happy about my full-time employment. My wife also works, so we don't have financial worries. But as our son grows, expenses will increase, so stable income is crucial. The 3rd branch, where I was assigned, has about 100 employees, with 20 in the sales department. The head of the department is a woman named Susan Taylor. She's competent, but has a strong personality, and is probably around 50 years old. She is well regarded by higher-ups, but she is known to have strong likes and dislikes, primarily based on educational background. My 1-month training was conducted at the headquarters, so I was assigned to the 3rd branch 2 months ago. In these 2 months, I've painfully realized that the rumors were true. Attention, everyone. This is Thomas, our new mid-career hire, starting in our sales department today. On my first day, Susan made me stand in front of everyone and began introducing me. Surprisingly, Thomas is a high school dropout. The room buzzed for a moment. "All right, quiet down. It's surprising, right? I was shocked too. In this day and age, a high school dropout still exists. And such a person has joined our company." She mocked me in a sarcastic manner. I objected, but it was an order from above. "I doubt a dropout can keep up with our excellent team, but please take care of him." Then she prompted me to introduce myself. "My name is Thomas Wilson. As the manager mentioned, I'm a high school dropout. However, I've achieved decent results in sales so far. I'll do my best not to drag anyone down here, so I appreciate your guidance," I said politely, and a scattered applause followed. "Well, I'm looking forward to seeing these results, Michael. Take him into your team." A bespectacled man with a somewhat slack face stepped forward. "I'm Michael Brown, the section chief. You'll be learning under me. You probably skipped high school because you hate studying, but that won't fly here," he said arrogantly. "Michael, he's not a kid. You can't talk to him like that." "Ha ha, sorry boss. It reminded me of my tutoring days. I've reformed quite a few bad students. Michael graduated from the same prestigious university as me. He's extremely capable, so he might use complex words, but do your best." Susan laughed through her nose and said, "All right, dismissed." Everyone awkwardly returned to their work. "So, your name is?" Thomas Wilson." "Well, that's pretty plain. I'll just call you Dropout. It's easy to remember and immediately identifies you." He looked down at me as he spoke. "With all due respect, calling me Dropout seems inappropriate." "Why? You said you don't mind your educational background. If you're not ashamed, it should be fine, right? Oh, I'll add Mr. to it." He twisted my words and decided to call me Mr. Dropout. "All right, Dropout." Start by following your seniors around. Oh, and you all. Use Dropout for various chores. As for actual sales work, maybe later. Michael laughed as he handed me off to his subordinates and walked away. Fortunately, my colleagues didn't openly mock me like Susan or Michael, nor did they call me Mr. Dropout. They also explained the job thoroughly. They secretly told me that Susan and Michael are hardcore elitists. They treated a new hire with just a high school diploma the same way before, forcing him to quit. But wouldn't they be disciplined by the company for that? When I asked, my colleagues exchanged puzzled looks. He did file a complaint, but the manager insisted she didn't remember mocking him. The new hire was so scared that he chose to quit rather than fight. For some reason, the branch manager just follows whatever she says. Since she's competent and her elitism isn't seen as a major issue, the company finds it hard to discipline her. Indeed, Susan and Michael treat employees with college degrees normally. They even seem to get along well. From what I've heard, most people in this department have college degrees. Some graduated from vocational schools. And while they aren't mocked, they aren't given important tasks and are treated as if they're sidelined. Amidst all this, here I am, a high school dropout. To those who value education, I'm an easy target. So, my first step as a full-time employee was overshadowed by uncertainty. However, thanks to my colleagues, I'm learning the job smoothly. I've always prided myself on having better communication skills than most. I think I'm a bit quicker at figuring out what people want and how they want it. Thanks to this communication skill, I've overcome many difficulties and built connections with people. Even here, I've quickly bonded with my colleagues and enjoy working where Susan and Michael can't see. However, it seems impossible to get along with Susan and Michael. After all, what they want is a high level of education. As a high school dropout, it's nearly impossible for me to gain their approval. Even if I achieve great results, they will never acknowledge me. I realized this within these 2 months. Mr. Dropout, make some copies. Mr. Dropout, get some coffee. They assign me menial tasks that they could easily do themselves. And I never get a thank you for doing them. Thomas, my coffee needs double sugar and milk. Can't you even get that right? On top of that, they complain about things I wasn't told. I'm sorry, but you didn't mention it at first. What? It's my fault. This is why dropouts are hopeless. You should have known. Absolutely, sensing the manager's intentions and acting accordingly, it's no surprise a dropout can't even manage that. It felt like they were just nitpicking to degrade me. A teenager wouldn't be able to endure this. One day, Michael suddenly ordered me to create presentation materials. I finally got to do some real sales work, and I eagerly started on the materials. Manager, here are the materials you requested. What? Are you giving up? Well, I figured a dropout couldn't handle creating materials right away. No, it's finished. Please review it. A surprised Michael snatched the materials from me and began to check them. Who made this for you? I did. Don't lie. How could you know our product so well? And this data? There's no way you could have researched this in such a short time. Michael yelled, his face bright red. I've been studying our products daily, and I got the data from the marketing department. What? The marketing department? How does a newbie like you have access to the marketing department? As a sales professional, you can't do your job without knowing marketing and manufacturing. I introduced myself right after joining, and we've been friendly since. Michael was left gaping at my response. The marketing and manufacturing departments were surprised when I first introduced myself. They probably didn't expect a new mid-career hire to come alone to greet them. We've never had a sales guy like you before. We always felt looked down on, but you're different, Thomas. Once I broke the ice, things moved quickly. When I asked about our products, they explained the pros and cons thoroughly and provided the necessary data willingly. That's how I was able to create a top-notch presentation. Shit. Michael, biting his lip in frustration. silently stood up and headed to Susan's desk. When I looked back at my colleagues, they were winking and giving me thumbs-up signs. "What?" A loud voice escaped from Susan as she reviewed the materials Michael handed over. Then she immediately called out loudly to me. "Drop out. Come here." "Yes, what is it?" I calmly walked up to Susan, who looked at me with twitching temples. "Where did you get these materials?" "What? You might have fooled Michael, but you can't fool me. You sweet-talked someone or stole these, didn't you?" To my amazement, even Susan was suspicious of me from the start. "If that's the case, ask around the sales department to find someone who made these materials. I was told by the manager that this was a new product. Also, check if anyone helped me create these materials." I was so frustrated that I ended up talking back. Susan's face twisted with anger, and she glared at me. "Fine, I will check. If I find out you had help or stole it, prepare yourself." Of course. Susan then questioned everyone in the sales department, but everyone shook their heads. Damn it. Susan gritted her teeth in frustration. Just like Michael, she reacted predictably, as they were from the same university. "Manager, this is..." Michael stammered, but Susan quickly composed herself. "Fine then, but these materials are no good, Michael. Fix them and submit them to me." With a glance, Michael immediately responded. "Yes, of course. I'll make the necessary corrections and submit them." "Wait a minute. If there are corrections needed, I'll fix them myself." "Shut up. The corrections are too complex for a dropout to understand. And if our clients find out these were made by a dropout, they won't accept them. So, Michael will fix them and submit them under his name." With a sneer, she turned away, saying, "This discussion is over." Michael also smirked beside her. I felt downhearted having my hard work taken away. But sulking wouldn't help. I thanked the colleagues who sympathized with me and resolved to do better next time. However, Susan and Michael were scheming to corner me even further. Attention, everyone. A few days after that incident, Susan gathered the entire sales department. It's been 2 months since our high school dropout joined our sales team. He's getting used to the work, and after talking with the branch manager, we've decided to have a welcome party for him. A murmur spread through the room. Apparently, our dropout has been getting close with the marketing and manufacturing departments. We decided to have a welcome party for the entire branch. Everyone looked at each other in surprise. Up until now, we've had welcome parties by department, but this is a good opportunity. Everyone, make sure to get to know people from other departments. Susan announced the date and place of the welcome party. This coming weekend at 7 p.m. at the Davis Hotel. Attendance is mandatory. This is a manager's order. With 100 people attending, a large indoor hotel seemed appropriate. This is amazing. We've never done anything like this before. Thomas, maybe they re-evaluated you because of that last presentation. I heard the only thing they changed was the name on it. Yeah, it seems like the manager was trying to take credit for your work. Maybe they're trying to cover that up. People were saying all sorts of things. I don't know if they've acknowledged me, but it's a good thing if this helps us build connections with other departments. I finally felt like I was becoming a part of this company. When I got home and told my wife about the welcome party, she was thrilled. You've been struggling since you were assigned, but now you're officially part of the sales team. I'm so happy for you. I hadn't told her about Susan and his attitude toward me, but it seemed she had sensed it all along. Knowing she felt the same way as I did was touching. On the day of the welcome party, Michael suddenly told me to deliver documents to a client in the evening. You can head straight to the venue afterward. Just don't be late. Got it? He was still acting superior, but I didn't mind. Understood. I'll go directly to the venue. As I turned away, I missed the sly grin on his face. That's strange. Is no one here yet? When I arrived at the Davis Hotel, I looked around the entrance. With 100 employees attending, there should have been early arrivals or a reception, but it was eerily quiet. There was no Welcome Anchor Corporation Branch 3 sign either. Excuse me, I'm from Anchor Corporation's third branch, and we have a reservation today. Just then, a maid passed by, so I asked her, and she looked at me suspiciously. Today, we don't have any parties scheduled for today. I stared in disbelief at the maid's back as she walked away. Then my cell phone rang. Hello, this is Thomas. I didn't recognize the number, but thinking it might be about the welcome party, I answered. On the other end, I heard Susan's voice. Dropout, where are you? She asked, giggling. I'm at the Davis Hotel, but they said there's no reservation for today. Susan burst into laughter at my response. No reservation. Then I heard his voice nearby. I can just imagine Dropout's clueless face. Manager, are you there too? Has the venue been changed? Changed, haha. No. It was never the venue to begin with. The two of them laughed heartily. As I stood there speechless, Susan composed herself and spoke. All right, I'll tell you. After I sent you on that errand this afternoon, I emailed the staff about the venue change. I told them not to worry because I had already informed you, so no one is going there. You purposely made sure I wouldn't attend the welcome party. No way we're welcoming a dropout. I heard mocking laughter on the other end of the phone. Listening to their laughter, I started to get angry. But I kept my cool and asked calmly, where is everyone then? We're at the Star Hotel. It's a top-class hotel. If someone like you showed up, it would tarnish the hotel's name, so don't bother coming. I nodded quietly. Understood. It would take over an hour from here anyway. Excuse me. It must be frustrating, but it's your fault for being a dropout. Your attempts to show off at work are just annoying. Now, go home and cry yourself to sleep. Susan said, then hung up. Fine, just wait and see. I muttered softly as I stared at the phone. 2 hours later, my phone rang loudly. Yes, how can I help you? The caller ID showed it was Susan. I answered the phone calmly. Hey, get to the Star Hotel immediately. Susan's voice was frantic. What do you mean, if I show up, it will tarnish the hotel's name, right? Now's not the time for that. If you don't come, we're in big trouble. Desperation in her voice. I heard a man in the background. If he's not here, it's $10,000 per person. What? It's a total of $100,000. Susan's voice was filled with despair. I chuckled softly. It sounds like you're busy. I'll hang up now. Wait, just come here. Explain what's going on. I ignored Susan's frantic shouting and hung up. Then, I quickly blocked her number. Soon after, another call came from a different number. Thomas, it's me, Michael. Don't hang up, please. This time, Michael was shouting desperately. Where are you? Are you at home already? Can you come to the Star Hotel right now? Why? Do you want to see my clueless face? Well, Michael was at a loss for words, but quickly regained his composure and shouted. Just come. This is an order from the manager. No, from the director. She demands it. Come immediately. No need to shout. I can hear you just fine. All right, I'll come. Fortunately, I'm nearby. I said and hung up. Now, let's see what kind of faces they're making. With that, I headed to the Star Hotel. Ah, Thomas. The Star Hotel is a top-tier hotel in this region. I asked at the reception for the venue reserved by Anchor Corporation's third branch and headed there. In front of the large doors to the venue stood Susan, Michael, and even the branch manager, James Jones. In front of them was a tall, dapper man in a crisp suit. This man, William Moore, the manager of the hotel, smiled slightly when he saw me. Why does the price change based on whether you're here or not? Susan rushed at me and grabbed me. Stop that, Susan. Calm down. The branch manager quickly held her back and scolded her. Michael stood next to them, looking pale. What is this all about? Could someone explain the situation? I asked calmly, instead of answering. The branch manager grimaced and questioned me. Thomas, are you feeling better now? Feeling better? What are you talking about? The branch manager's eyes widened at my answer. I was told you suddenly got sick and couldn't attend. Well, Susan, you said Thomas apologized for missing his own welcome party due to sudden illness. Susan averted her eyes, looking embarrassed. I have no health issues. In fact, I was looking forward to attending in top condition. I answered calmly, while William smirked. But you didn't show up. Why is that? Because I was deceived by the manager and the supervisor. That's not true. This dropout is lying. Yeah, he's probably too dumb to get the venue name right. Susan snapped back, and Michael jumped in to support her. Dropout. William's expression changed, and he muttered softly. But the desperate pair continued pleading to the branch manager, insisting they weren't at fault. What is going on here? I addressed the confused branch manager. Ask the sales team. The other day, the manager said the venue was the Davis Hotel. And as I just learned, she sent an email changing the venue. It was likely an internal email, so it should be easy to verify. I see. Yes, I'll. No. Just as the branch manager was about to call someone, Susan shrieked. Branch manager, are you going to believe the lies of this dropout? Don't you trust the words of someone who has worked so hard for this company? Well, if there's an email as evidence, there's no way to deny it. The branch manager looked even more perplexed as Susan clung to him. Actually, there's no need to check the email. Listen to this. I said, playing a recording on my cell phone. You purposely made sure I wouldn't attend the welcome party. No way we're welcoming a dropout. Susan's mocking voice echoed in the hallway. This is this, Susan, and that laughter in the background is his, isn't it? Dropout. How dare you be so sneaky? That's right. You didn't tell us you were recording. Susan shrieked, and Michael joined in to criticize me, while the branch manager stood frozen. I wouldn't announce that I'm recording if I did. Would you behave the same way you usually do? What? Have you been recording us all this time? Yes. I've gathered quite a collection. I was deciding when to send it to headquarters or the labor board. Michael turned pale and started sweating profusely. Manager, are you feeling bad? Michael stared at me like he was seeing a ghost and took a step back. Are you scared because you were recorded? That means you realize your statements are problematic from a compliance standpoint. Cornered by my words, Michael sank to the floor. Michael, what are you doing sitting down? So what if he has recordings? They must be fake. Do you think someone you mocked as a dropout could fabricate recordings? I'm flattered. You. Susan fell silent, glaring at me with a furious expression. We'll discuss this issue later, but right now we need to address the payment here. The branch manager sighed deeply and began to speak. I was told the fee for today's welcome party was $150 per person. I thought it was high, but I assumed it was for the sake of building camaraderie, so I expected to pay $15,000 for 100 people. He glanced at William. When I asked for the invoice, the manager himself came and asked why Thomas wasn't present at his own welcome party. I said he couldn't come because he was unwell, and the manager responded that a welcome party without the guest of honor is not valid. Therefore, the standard rate would apply, which is $1,000 per person. The branch manager continued, clearly troubled. $100,000 for 100 people. There's no way the company will cover the full amount. But we can't ask the employees to pay the $900 difference per person either. I'm at a loss for what to do. The branch manager looked at me pleadingly. Then Susan started shouting again. Branch manager, why are you being so weak? Even if it's a top-tier hotel, charging $1,000 per person is ridiculous. This isn't some scam bar. We should firmly refuse. Susan, stop it. The branch manager raised his voice at her outburst. Don't you know? William's father is a major shareholder in our company. Our company grew thanks to the investment from the previous star hotel president. What? Well, regardless of my father's involvement, we are simply charging the standard rate for this welcome party. With a slight smile, Williams said, I've known Thomas Wilson for a long time. We're old friends. At these words, the branch manager, Susan, and even Michael, who was still on the floor, looked up in surprise. Friends, the manager and this dropout. William frowned in displeasure. What's with all this dropout talk? Thomas's family used to run a successful business. But after his father died in an accident, the company folded, and they were left with debts. Thomas gave up his plans to attend high school to support his family. He was exceptionally bright and always top of his class. If he'd continued his studies, he might have gotten into the Harvard University. Harvard University. The mention of Harvard University seemed to hit Susan hard. Given her obsession with academic credentials, her previously haughty attitude disappeared. I've been inspired many times by Thomas's positive and forward-looking attitude, despite his hardships. The pressure of succeeding in the Star Hotel Group is quite intense. I can say I wouldn't be here without his encouragement. If you think so highly of him, why didn't you hire him here? Of course, I asked him many times to work as my right-hand man. But Thomas said he loved sales and laughed it off. As William spoke, I remembered the times we'd spent together. We always joked around, but I didn't realize he thought so highly of me. William, thank you. I do love sales, but it was also about pride. I wanted to prove I could make it on my own without high school or college. I didn't want to rely on you. Thomas, I'll always be here whenever you're ready. William looked at me. Well, anyway, he said, clearing his throat awkwardly before continuing. We knew Thomas joined your company, so we provided a lot of services for this welcome party. But more importantly, William pulled out a piece of paper. There were additional orders for 50 bottles of premium wine as souvenirs. Also, someone has been occupying a suite at our hotel for the past 3 days. The charges for both are included in this invoice. The branch manager turned pale as he looked at the paper. Then he slowly looked at Susan. What is the meaning of this, Susan? 50 bottles of wine. That's not for all the employees. Who are they for? And the suite? Who has been staying there? The branch manager's voice shook as he glared at Susan. The sound of Susan swallowing nervously echoed in the silent hallway. Michael lay face down on the floor, pretending not to hear. Well, I have no idea what this is about. I know nothing about it. Susan stammered. Susan tried to feign ignorance, but it wasn't going to work. Don't worry, branch manager. We have security cameras, so it will be easy to see who stayed in the suite. We can also ask the staff in charge about the additional orders. William replied cheerfully, causing Susan to scream. No, what is wrong with you? Do you have a grudge against me? A grudge? Not at all. I'm just stating the facts. I got a bit emotional because my friend was being mistreated. That's not very professional of me as a hotel manager. William said with a calm expression. Susan stared at William as if he were a stranger. Also, I noticed earlier, the budget for the welcome party was $150 per person, right? Yeah, that's what I was told. And we collected that amount. I even paid $300 myself and said to use the extra for the after party. That's odd. We were told the fee was $100 per person. The branch manager and I immediately looked at Susan. She avoided our gaze, her face now completely pale. Manager, did you use the $5,000 difference to cover the cost of the wine and the suite? Susan, what have you done? This is embezzlement. Embezzlement? Michael sprang up and shouted. Embezzlement. I didn't know. The manager booked the hotel and ordered the wine on her own. She said no one would find out if we kept quiet. And about Thomas, the manager told me to push him to resign because a dropout was a nuisance. I didn't care about any of that. Crying, Michael confessed and crawled toward me. Please, I meant no harm. Forgive me. She ordered me to do everything. She blackmailed me after we had a drunken fling, threatening to tell my wife. I'm a son-in-law by marriage. If it gets out, I'll lose my home and my kids. Michael, how could you say that? Susan shouted, but it was too late. Michael continued to spill everything. The fee for the welcome party was $100 per person, with the company covering the rest. But the branch manager didn't know, and we told everyone else there was no subsidy. We planned to use the leftover money to live it up. You scoundrel! Susan leaped at Michael, grabbing him from behind. What are you doing? Lies, all lies. It's the other way around. He blackmailed me with photos from when we had an affair. I had to go along with it. Susan shouted, shaking his shoulders. The commotion must have reached the people inside the venue, as the door opened and employees peeked out. Branch manager, this is clearly embezzlement. We need to contact headquarters immediately. I spoke to the branch manager, who was pale and trembling. Yes, even a fool like me can bring you to justice. Prepare yourselves. With that, the branch manager stormed off, clearly too furious